Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to hopefully the last ever rainbow flavored thing that we do on Tuesdays. With it's a thing that we've been doing for a while, and
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WWE NXT Sour Graps post show for September 27th. This is the final of the 2.0 era. We encourage you to get in your super chats, get in your humper chats, leave a thumbs up on this video when you can. And that's how you do the intro to the show, Alex. It's been over a year. What are we? Come on, man, pick up on it. This definitely isn't a bit.
Definitely, it's definitely a bit. Also, I have an excuse this week because I woke up this morning fine, and now I feel like death. We were going to do a funeral show, and I would be able to play the corpse at the funeral because I am slowly dying. I caught whatever the hell my daughter has had for the last 2 weeks. Finally, the kindergarten flu made its way into me, and now I am dying. So let's get this over with, I guess.
That's actually a really appropriate way to start the show because I feel like we've been saying let's get this over with for over a year in the NXT 2.0 era. This was a perfect way to go out. I thought it was very symbolic that we had some good stuff, some bad stuff, and some stuff that just made you go, what the hell? So looking forward to a new era. I'm sure we'll talk about it as it goes on, but
yes,
this is the most consistent bad wrestling I've ever watched. I'll say that much. Like this was like I just didn't watch other stuff. And SmackDown was at least like up and down. You had to watch Raw. I didn't have to watch Raw. I would catch up on stuff that I wanted to catch up on and stay posted on things because I felt like it was responsible. But this is by far the most consistently I've ever watched bad wrestling. And I did it because of my dedication to this business. And just because I love you guys. So thanks for making it fun because the wrestling has not been good. So we appreciate all of you wonderful people who joined us.
We do. This is true. This is a thing that is true. We had a first one here coming from Taylor Cannon. Says, today's been a tough day. It marks 5 years since my dad passed away. I'm grateful to spend the time with the SGS and hashtag Team KLX. We get a lot of these kinds of messages from people, either during the shows or on social media, people who use our hijinks as a way of escaping from whatever is plaguing them. And the past couple of years, that has been a lot for people. And so I'm so grateful that we can be in that position to provide so many people with that kind of outlet. And Taylor, you're a valued member of the SGS. We're very happy that we can bring a little light into your life on a very, very sad anniversary for you.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, Taylor. And I'll just echo Alex. I kind of said the same thing on Twitter, but like, we didn't know what the hell we were getting into a year ago. We started a wrestling review show, and now it's a variety hour, and there are horse
It's a variety 2 hours, let's be honest. It's a variety
2 hours. It's very true. But that being said, like, it's the most fun. It's so much fun. I didn't know I could have so much fun watching such bad wrestling. And while that is all fun, the things that I think mean the most are the things that are not wrestling related at all. Like the messages that we get in here of people paying money to send to other people good wishes, and the messages we get about being able to relieve some of the tough stuff. Like the fact that we have built a community around just the silliest thing is the thing that really, really means something at the end of the day. So thank you for all of that. And this is sounding like a weird goodbye speech. We're excited for what's to come, hopefully, because it's under someone that it can confidently book stuff. But this era of it is closing. So very, very thankful for what the year plus has meant.
Yes. And to show you that the community we have here is true and real. even our local troll Matthew Plus is having a connection. Matthew for Taylor's connection to SGS. So that's very nice, showing support there. But Matthew Plus had his first experience watching 2.0 tonight. Said, I watched 2.0 for the first time tonight. I still hate them, but I have a newfound respect for Al and Katie, who've been watching this regularly. Stuff from Matthew Plus, who's like, wait a minute, who the hell is this and why are they doing this? That's a very very good question about a lot of things. It's not great. We have a lot of things to talk about tonight that were just great. Your father, of course, recurring character Paul Elizabeth Minus, says, greetings to Sir Pringle, the Council of Marks, the Sisters Cease, Team #Calyx, and all the SGS. Condolences to Taylor and stay safe, Florida. Yeah, everybody, we have so many people I know who watch the show, are part of the group in Florida. Stay safe, batten down the hatches, people.
Big time. And really, to the people
very scary.
Who have already been affected in Puerto Rico. You know,
Cuba,
Alex,
yes.
Mirror Alex on Fridays. His family has already been affected. He's doing some fundraising. You can go check out his page. But there's a lot of people that have been dealing with the effects of that too, of course. So hang in there and stay safe, everyone.
Was that you or is that me? Is there feedback? I'm hearing all kinds of feedback.
You sound a little spacey. It sounds like you are trying to be me because I was you yesterday.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
If you guys aren't subscribed to Fightful Select, I'll take this moment while Alex is fixing his audio.
Is that everybody else is having the things with the thing? Is that me or is that you?
I'm not hearing anything.
Hello. Hold on. You leave. It was you. It's you. It's your microphone. Yep, that's your microphone. Whatever that is, that's your microphone. That's is just my headphone. Yeah. That's bad. I can barely hear you, but I do hear a terrible thing. That. Bye, Case. We're at least gonna mute you. That's terrible. All right. Oh, wonderful! On the day when I could really use some help here, because I'm dragging. Because I'm yeah. Matthew Plus, his plan is working. He's ruined everything. He's hacked into us, and that's it. That's all we got. Shawn Michaels will know who I am. He's planning on going into the destroying everything. That's too. It's bad. So we have here, I don't know if it was anything related to her internet. It may have just been her microphone. But Matthew Plus says, the only thing worse than Katie's opinion is her Wi-Fi. Actually, her opinions are worse than her internet. I don't know. Her microphone's worse than her internet. That's for sure. All right, hold on.
Is it better?
It's so much better now. Thank God.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Sorry, I had to switch. Oh my gosh. Like, just AEW will play AEW song. Get a life. Like, it's 10:30 on a Tuesday, bro. Make a friend.
What?
There's some dorks in the chat. Sorry, I think because I switched computers because everything was wonky before my audio settings got switched up. So we have solved the mystery. But yeah, today was the perfect way to close out the 2.0 era. There was some stuff that made no sense. Like, what is a pub rules match? It's just a hardcore match. Like, there were some things that made no sense, and then there were some things that were okay. That Grayson Waller promo was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
I have no idea what we're doing with that.
But yeah, we'll dig into it all here on the Graps.
Who knew Kate's internet also had a full bladder?
Please That's another thing. Explain this to my parents. Please don't make me explain it.
Jenny Pringle says, Papa Paul Elizabeth, one true birthday, sick boy, Alex. Ladies of cease and desist, the bangs that run the place, Kate Elizabeth, marks in the council thereof. SGS family far and wide, much love. Thank you, Jenny Pringle. That really helps. My spirits. Eric Freeds said, happy birthday, Alex Sour Graps. Kate, happy belated birthday? Question mark. Not recent. This podcast got me to enjoy wrestling, listen more podcasts, and not feel alone. Well, Eric, that's awesome to hear. I'm so happy that this ridiculousness is something that's allowed you to not feel alone. That's a big thing for me, because I certainly have felt that way in my life. And Tom LaValle, this is true, says, happy Tuesday, SGS. This is a huge praise super chat for Drew and Luis and all the Fightful mods. AEW needs to hire them to fix their live chat. That live chat is not great. And Luis says, I appreciate the kind words, but there is not enough money in the world to convince me to moderate that shit show of a chat. And then Sean Blanford says, sorry to hear of your recent case of the kindergarten flu, Alex. I hope you get better soon. Real talk, though. If you've been able to go the whole day without looking up what a try guy is, I have. I have no idea what a try guy is. I don't want to know what a try guy is. I don't want to know anything about the scandal. My hope is that by tomorrow, it'll all blow over. Something else will, the terminally online, of which I count myself one, will be able to focus on something else. Do you know how long ago that whole bullshit with Don't Worry, Darling feels? It feels like it happened during the Mesozoic era. Like everything happens for a maximum of 18 hours and then goes away. So I never want to know what a try guy is, and that's good.
I was like, the burger chain? What the hell's a try guy?
Yeah, no, totally different thing. SGS, Luis says, what is a try guy? Am I out of touch? Who knows? Who cares? No one can know. It is unknowable. It's unquantifiable. Who cares?
There it is.
So there you go. Yes, Matthew Plus, our resident heel, is back. We're going to knock these out of here as immediately possible. Matthew Plus says, Al, if your show is running short on time, just speak your mind. You'll be speechless. And JW Pringle says, Maddie Minus, thanks for doing the job no one wanted. SGS heel, you do it well. Matthew Plus.
No. If you're gonna send in your money, make it about my shoulders. We're not giving Matthew Plus credit
at least
today.
Collarbone, something.
See?
And then Matthew Plus says, wait,
prostituting myself.
Sour Graps is continuing beyond 2.0? Damn. Yep, we're here for the duration, people.
You don't have to join, man.
Who else might be here for the duration? Ilya Dragunov. Because he comes out to open the show, cuts a little promo, with his wonderful half Russian, half German thing that he does, where he just sounds like all of the bad guys from Indiana Jones all rolled into one. But anyway, he's interrupted by JD McDonough, and listen, old Duncan himself. I don't like the guy, but he's got a point. Like, I just won a match to be number one contender. Wait your damn turn. But they do have an interesting connection. Like, Ilya Dragunov got hurt in the match with Jordan Devlin with JD McDonough. JD McWhodunit. So they have that connection there. You may have beaten me, but you didn't escape unscathed because I hurt you and you had to give up. You didn't even get to enjoy your title that you defended. I thought that was decent. I like that they're actually bringing that into it. But then Braun Breaker comes out and does his wonderful wonderful impression of his own uncle, which even verges into Steiner math. He says, unless my math is incorrect, and it hardly ever is.
I love that. That was good.
You got a 33.3% chance of becoming champion because he wants a triple threat. I mean, McDonough says you guys should fight, and then I'll fight the winner. And no, that's not how it's going to work. No. But I also just love baby faces being dumb enough to be like, yeah, absolutely, I'll make my odds worse. What he should be is like, I'm the champion. You never lost your title, and I really I think that you're a fantastic champion. And you just became number one contender. How about this? The real number one contender is the guy who wins this match between the two of you. That's what the champion has the option of being able to say that himself. But instead of doing that, he's like, no, I'd like to have less of an option of winning. So Halloween Havoc's gonna feature Dragunov versus McDonut versus Breaker for the NXT title. And there you go.
To think if he and Bryan Danielson were on a tag team, they could be the American Dragunov. That would be good stuff. I liked this Titan or Math reference. I think we're getting closer to Braun Breaker just probably when he goes up to the main roster.
Please, God, I need it. I just have
make him a Steiner. I do have a concern about him, which is that now Triple H is in charge, right? So you have to look like Braun Breaker edict is out the window.
Right.
I still think he's a star, if not the star of the future in WWE. But I am kind of like, to be that guy, you have to make a lot of, like, we've seen Roman make some really dumb stuff work. Braun has not made dumb stuff work.
No.
And that's true across any wrestling company. If you're the champ, at some point, you're going to have to make dumb stuff work.
Right.
But yeah, I think the triple threat will be great. Dragunov, as we saw tonight, I just think is so great. He is such a special talent.
He's amazing.
I would like him to go to the main roster sooner than later, because I just want to see the rematch of him versus Gunther selfishly.
Yeah, true. I was speculating in a live chat that I did for Raw last night that somebody was saying, what do you do with Breaker on the main roster? And it does feel like you don't bring him up now because he doesn't have that spot. There's not a spot to put him right now, currently, with what they're doing with everything else. It doesn't help that all the bloodline is holding on to all those titles. So everybody who would be going for the top title on Raw, they got to be in the U.S. title picture. I think that maybe you could put him in the U.S. title picture if you brought him up to Raw, but not with everybody else orbiting Bobby Lashley. Lashley would be a top guy going for the WWE title, but he can't be. He's the U.S. champion, and Rollins wants the U.S. title and all this kind of stuff. So I thought, honestly, the best thing for him, even though it would feel like a step down from what he was in NXT, is to come up and be the ultimate hot tag guy. Like him coming in, hitting spears, chucking dudes all over the ring. He'd be so great at. There's the thing of it is that we never got to, like, without the time that the Steiners were a tag team, you'd never have had Big Papa Pump. It wouldn't have worked.
Right.
He had to cut his teeth as that freak of nature athletically in the tag team for it to work. I would love to see him. Honestly, the best thing I think they could do is to really actually make the Alpha Academy into something good and not a comedy sideshow with great wrestling that loses all the time. But if you have Gable in the lead of that thing and then Otis and Breaker underneath him, and they could win the titles when they eventually become available to win, and freebird them, would be really cool to see how all those guys work together, because Chad Gable always get heat with his stuff on the mic, and Breaker could introduce himself to a main roster audience in smaller doses by being the guy who tags in and just moves with such velocity and has such strength about him, but doesn't have to carry a 15-minute singles match because, we've seen, depending on who he's working against, it doesn't necessarily work. And so I don't want that bad for him, but if he cut his teeth on the main roster as a tag guy, I think that he can move up the ranks much easier than just throwing him to the wolves in the top of everything. I didn't used to think that, but because they've been routinely giving him, let's be honest, like just wet blankets of feud partners, and the creative has been bad. it's proven that he can't turn anything into gold. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I thought, hey, you know what they should do? Bring him up, have him win the Rumble, and beat Roman Reigns. And I don't think that anymore. I just don't think that that's what they, and honestly, it's okay that at the age he is now, he's not ready for that spot. That's totally fine. Most guys don't get anywhere near that spot until they're like 32. He's got almost a decade of stuff left, you know?
Not even
but like age, experience.
Like experience-wise. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, he is actually very new to this and great at it proportionately. But it is interesting because there's all these other pieces that have come back. And I like that I don't know, but I need to know that Triple H knows. So I think that will be good. And I think that, like, there's no point in bringing him up before Royal Rumble. I like your Alpha Academy idea. I feel like I would want the Creeds with Alpha Academy. Like, if I could book Alpha Academy from scratch, it would be Gable, Gulak, and the Creeds probably. But I don't hate that idea. It is just interesting, like, in a very short time, how drastically some people's trajectories have changed. I think he's one of them. Like, I don't even know if he's ahead of Tyler Bate right now. You know what I mean? So it's tricky. We'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Sean Blanford asks, so Ilya is pinning McDonagh to win the title. Yes. I mean, depends on what their timetable is for Braun. If they want to move Braun up now, then you so I don't know.
It's really that, like, NXT is actually in a really interesting spot right now because of that. Because, like, Wendy Chu could stick around for 6 more months. Wendy Chu could go up tomorrow. Like, there's just gonna be some ambiguity around it because there's even that on the main roster. Like, I don't know if they have a plan for Braun Strowman. Truly, like, they have to figure out stuff. So. But I think it's good. I think it's a very, very healthy thing because it seemed like everything was so paid by numbers for so long that at least there's options now. So that rules.
Yeah. We'll talk. This is not the last we will see of Mr. Dragunov. We'll talk about that a little later. Mandy Rose defeated the horse girl. She called her a cowgirl on Twitter. No, it's a horse girl. Obviously, she's a horse girl. Don't confuse.
Don't degrade like that.
No, no. She's a horse girl. I don't know why she's wrestling the horse girl, but she does. Horse girl gets to do some things, but then ultimately eats a knee, and that's it. We then see Mandy cutting a promo and talking about Alma Fire or whatever. And you don't really want a piece of this kind of stuff. I don't know. We get we get Alma Fire out in the parking lot. She says, I don't do verbal warnings, which I thought was a really good line. It says, I've always been more of a visual woman. And then she takes her bat that's on fire and she lights a sign like the Batman does to warn the Joker or something. But the sign that she lights says, and new. But doesn't even say that. It says hashtag and new. And they're like that's the least intimidating thing you could set on fire is something that you have preceded with a hashtag unnecessarily. Like the why is the hashtag there? Do people who run NXT think that that's how you get something trending on the parking lot? But got to put a hashtag in it?
I wonder if they couldn't put a space between the word and new. And so they were like, well, if we hashtag it, there shouldn't be a space. Right. What did The Rock set on fire with his flamethrower? Was it just the word WrestleMania?
I think it was his own name.
It was just The Rock?
Yeah.
That's not that much better, and that's the fucking Rock, so.
No. But the only way it could have been worse, though, was if they was hashtag The Rock.
That's that would actually be worse than hashtag and new.
Yeah, it would be bad.
You win some, you lose some. But I like it out of a fire push. I like the idea of her maybe dethroning Mandy. I think that could be a really good thing.
Yes, it would be a great thing, particularly because I would assume then it would be Toxic Attraction of the main roster.
Yes.
They're really been kind of gumming up the works, and I also can't stand Toxic Attraction. The other two of them talking about how it's their titles. You haven't been the champs. It feels like forever, and when you were the champs, you never defended the belts. No. So, like, I understand they're heels. I'm supposed to not like them, but I don't want any wrestlers to be delusional. Like, I would like them to at least know what reality is. And you're not the champs, and you haven't been for a while. So you continuing to say that we are the champs doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But
no, and this is part of. I had a couple of weeks on the main roster that were a little bit struggling like this. I'm just going to have to accept that, like, we're in a new regime. There's going to be some things that don't make sense with the handoff. This is one of them. But I also don't feel like we're going to have to deal with it from Toxic Attraction very long, because I do think they're going up. Because what else is there for them to do in NXT anymore? I think even though I have not liked their run at all, I think as far as what WWE would consider successful, it's been successful in their eyes of, like, this is a main roster ready act, even though the creative hasn't made sense. Like, you could put JC and Gigi in the tag division. Mandy is who she is. And you can go from there. So I think that's perfectly fine. But you're right in that it makes absolutely no sense.
Right. Kate's Chicken Tenders Jam Beard says the Yankees will fear the Jays come playoff time. I don't even know what's going on. All I know
fear
is
them. You walked Aaron Judge like 47 times today.
Yeah. All I know is that my Brewers had a full collapse since the beginning of August, and are going to miss the playoffs because can't string together a few wins in a row. But too bad.
What happened around the beginning of August? You started to make fun of Derek Jeter on this stream.
No, what it was they traded away their top reliever for pieces.
Nope.
Now, that's literally what it was. They made inexplicable deadline deals that really ruined the morale in the clubhouse, and it took them like weeks to recover from that, and by that point it was over. So I think that's probably more likely. But.
No, you know what? If you want to believe that, and it's not that you angered the baseball gods, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Jeter.
Baseball gods, you and your friggin'. I did not wake up the echoes. None of that bullshit happened, because that's all hooey is what that is.
Sure. All right. Enjoy losing during Mercury retrograde.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. So Apollo Crews has another vision. Talks about his vision.
Bloody eyes.
He's got his bloody eye, but this is the thing. I'm so sorry. I'm going to get hung up on this because this is not Lucha Underground. Even if it was Lucha Underground, with Lucha Underground, if a character had visions of the future, nobody else would be able to see them because it's not their vision. So he has a vision of Grayson Waller having red eyes, and then later, Mackenzie Mitchell says, "What did you think of Apollo Crews' latest vision?" How would he know? How would anybody know? It's not his. I don't even know how. Like, I understand that we as the audience see it because that's television, but there's no reason why Grayson Waller would even know such a vision took place.
Sure.
And Mackenzie Mitchell asking him about it is ridiculous.
Yes. The acting of this was also just not very good. Like, I was like, did Grayson Waller do cocaine? Like, why is he so... These visions haven't amounted to anything. Man, Apollo Crews is so athletic and great at wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, he just go wrestle and not have weird visions that other people know about. And if he is going to have visions that other people know about him, can we have him being like, Nana and Boo Boo, I had a vision and your career's going to end or something? Like, not to mention, like, his visions were like a diner vigilante situation, right? And, like, this hasn't led to anything. I was so excited. I was like, repackaged Apollo Crews, going back to NXT. It's going to be really good stuff. And then, just as I simply became a wrestling writer, he simply became a weirdo who's having visions.
That's right. Sorry, I had to go back to the single frame because you had to leave because your microphone was killing people.
No, it's okay.
And
the only way you can make it up to me is by putting up young, sexy Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, God. Hold on. Now I gotta find that.
Guys.
Hold on. No, this is Mop Edge.
On this day.
No, that's not it either.
No, that's balls.
No, this is Grayson Waller's worst enemy. Nope.
Yep.
Nope, that's not it. That's Bronze Pants. Nope. Here we go. Here we go.
Look at that jaw.
He's just like, yeah.
My God.
Woof. My God. So great.
Stud.
So what a stud. What a stud.
Great.
Name. Right. But Waller is so freaked out by the vision because but my beautiful emerald green eyes with a speck of sky blue in them. Oh no, what will happen to my beautiful green eyes? It's a vision. It's probably I don't know what any of this is.
Well, in his defense, Apollo Crews is bleeding from the eyes.
Right. Apollo Crews,
nobody is like, that's a medical issue.
No. Apollo Crews is going to fight Grayson Waller at Halloween Havoc because that's why Apollo Crews came back to NXT to do this shit and not to be the guy who beats Apollo Crews beats Braun Breaker for the title and has a run on top down there like Finn Balor did. Like, no, he came back to feud with the Australian that nobody likes. That was the thing that they did. All right. Good for you.
I'm hoping we can clear out this stupidity and move on to better days.
Yeah. Kate's Chicken Tenders Jam Beard says Apollo going back to NXT so far has been lamest out of all the main rostered NXT returns so far. Even Dolph was used better. Well, Dolph was there for like 4 weeks and was the champion. Like so like it wasn't even like Apollo's been there for 3 times as long and he's gotten nowhere near a championship match. So
didn't he lose to Giovanni Vinci or did Giovanni Vinci win?
No, Giovanni Vinci won.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, because it was cost by Zion Quinn, who we'll talk about later, who's a guy who insinuates himself into much bigger dealings than his pay grade would call for, and then pays the price. So that's probably not the best thing.
Probably not, no.
Here's also not the best thing. Wesley had a match with Tony D. Channing Lorenzo, Mr. Channing, got himself kicked out of ringside because he wouldn't stop trying to attack Wesley, which would have cost his boss the match. And Tony D was trying to explain this to Channing, and Channing was like, "No, I'm sorry. I am the least intelligent person ever to be named Channing, and Channing Tatum exists. So."
Don't assume he's dumb just because he's a stud. Minoru Suzuki, look at how wonderful looking he is.
I know. I'm not assuming anything. This man thought that it would help his boss by attacking the guy his boss was having a match with.
I mean Channing Tatum.
Oh,
don't hate on Channing Tatum.
No, I'm just you should. I mean, listen.
No, I don't like it when wrestlers don't know how very basic wrestling rules work.
Yeah.
And not in a like, haha, I'm out to break them way. In like, I'm an idiot kind of way.
Yeah. So he gets brought from ringside, and then they have a match that goes. They have a picture-in-picture.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna guess right before the finishing stretch, there's probably like 3 or 4 minutes left in the match. Maybe there's a drop toe hold into the middle turnbuckle, and I thought it was a concussion. Watching it in real time,
yeah,
I was like, when they were like checking him out, he wasn't. He was doing a lot of this stuff and wasn't getting up. And I don't like those. Listen, the turnbuckle pads help, but that is metal behind there. Yeah. And if they're not really padding and you hit that thing wrong, like in your temple, that's going to knock your bell. Ring your bell, knock your bell, knock your block off, whatever.
Ring my bell. I know that look. Yep. Paul, who was in the chat, has given me that look before.
So
Dad, you're embarrassing me.
The ref stops the match and awards the match to Wesley because he goes up the X and immediately Tony D is checked on. But the announce team blames a knee, which is absurd. Like yes. they said his knee hit the mat really hard. His knee didn't get tweaked. Like you tell me that a guy who probably wears knee pads under his very baggy training pants, his knee hit the mat too hard and broke his kneecap? I mean, here I have no idea what happened because this was taped, but nobody's told us anything about what's wrong with Tony D. This sucks for Tony D, although I assume he was going to lose the match anyway. And he's going to have problems with Channing because Channing wasn't out there to help him, and therefore he lost the match. I think that was probably going to be the story. But it sucked him to be injured. But it was such an odd thing to have the announcers blame a phantom knee thing, especially when they were like, not like he tweaked it, but that he went down to a knee too hard on the canvas. Was a very odd thing to mention, and it did not look as though he could not stand because of a knee. It looked like he could not get his bearings back, and maybe they don't want to be like, probably a concussion. That's bad, yeah, because that makes it look bad.
They tend to steer away from anything to do with like head injuries of any sort, which I get, but this isn't the next best thing. Like you could. There's so many, it's wrestling. There's so many other things you could have made up. So, I would prefer they just assume we're not idiots and go with what looked like the probable truth. But I also understand, like, you don't want to call attention to like head injuries of any sort, especially because concussions are something that sometimes have differing timelines and take a while to diagnose or whatever. So, but yeah, this was kind of a bummer. I just wanted like a really kick-ass match between these two, and it was just a little bit schmozzy and stilted, but you know.
And as Case Chicken Tenders reminds us, you need bones connected to the head bone.
I'm concerned about your skeletal system.
No, but everything's connected. The knee bone's headed to the leg bone. The leg bone's connected to the pelvis. The pelvis connected to the spine. The spine connected to the sternum, not really, the rib cage, the rib cage connected to the sternum, the sternum's connected to the clavicle, the clavicle's connected to the
clavicle,
spinal column, the spinal column connected to the head bone. It's all connected eventually. That's the whole point, I think.
Alex, every week I learn so much on this show. Hey, you know what else is something biological that we could discuss? As I cannot pull up our videos because I'm not logged into this instance of StreamYard.
That's not
penises,
good.
Huh? Who wants to talk?
If you want erect penises, well, one at least, yours, use BlueChew.com. But it's not just about that, even though it is a lot about that. It's about that performance. It's about having that confidence. Blue Chew is made with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You know they work, but they work on your schedule. Or not your schedule. Maybe you're not up to task. Blue Chew takes care of that for you, my friend. Get you ready whenever the mood arises or when it doesn't. Prescribed online, shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, and you don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy or the doctor's office. It's because you consult with an online physician, and if approved, come straight to your door. That way you can, you know the rest. Just pay $5 shipping when you use that code Fightful. Otherwise, your first shipment is free. That's BlueChew.com and the code Fightful.
I wasn't done with my segue. I was going to say, who wants to talk about bones when you can talk about boners? So I got it on the back end of that, which I'll take.
You did. You got it. You got it in there eventually. So.
And you can get it in there using Blue Chew. There we go. And you'll have to pay $5 shipping. You know what else costs $5, Alex?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
A subscription to Fightful Select for just $5 a month. You get. I'm starting to think you might have already known that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you already knew that because like 11,000 other people already know that and they're subscribed to Fightful Select and you should be subscribed to Fightful Select because you get all of the latest and greatest breaking news in professional wrestling. You get all the scoop skis. You get everything that's going on over there. You get producer information, which is stuff that I like to find out. We're getting more and more people unsuspended from Brawl Out after All Out. So many different things. So go to Fightful Select and subscribe. You also get Fightful Select behind the paywall stuff where sometimes I go off. Sometimes it's Alex's birthday like it was yesterday. And I do the jukebox, which was wonderful and terrible at the same time. We found out that I actually do a pretty all right Tiffany Stratton, so you can get those in on your jukebox requests. But subscribe to Fightful Select. You get Alex always and oftentimes me doing Raw and SmackDown reviews and paywall pay-per-view, post-shows, me and Alex. Killing it.
Yep.
More Team Kalex for everybody.
More of it. Kate Chicken Tender says, Kate, you missed the segue of, and if you want something connected to the jawbone, Blue Chew.
Did I miss it? Or did I just know you were going to pay money and we'd also
there you go.
That?
Mm-hmm.
Thinking. Oh, yeah.
Kate's Chicken Tenders Jam Beard says, hot take, Channing Tatum is as overrated as Kevin Hart is, but at least Tatum is somewhat funny. That's your hot take there.
I think I've only seen Channing Tatum in Ghostbusters and he was pretty good in it. But I didn't get on board with the Magic Mike-ness. Wasn't that him?
No, that was Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, darn it. I got my wrong, like, blonde, overly jacked, kind of generic dude. I don't even think I've seen Channing Tatum in anything other than Lip Sync Battle, and he was very funny on Lip Sync Battle.
There you go. Channing Tatum was Magic Mike, yes. I watched it. I know what Channing Tatum is. Yes.
Oh, good for you, Alex. Not all of us do.
No, I'm talking to Luis, who's been like Channing Tatum was Magic Mike, Alex, and I was like, I know, Luis, I understand.
I decided to take it as personal.
Henry T. Casey has an inspired bit of casting. He says Channing Tatum should be Sting in a WCW movie.
Does he want to jump off a bunch of shit?
I mean, not 63-year-old Sting.
All right, fine.
Like NWO Sting. So
okay,
maybe I don't know.
Surfer Sting, I could see it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy one. What are you chowing on?
Dots.
Birthday dots.
Mm-hmm.
Love that for you.
They have Halloween candy at the Dollar Tree. So I'm like, they get the big bag of the little dots boxes for $1. Can't beat that with a stick.
Underrated. Underrated.
And CO has a super chat that is a Simpsons reference, so you won't get it. But he says, the knee bone's connected to the something. The something's connected to the red thing. The red thing's connected to my wristwatch. Uh-oh. Because that's Dr. Nick, who is doing surgery, and the red thing is connected to his wristwatch. He didn't try to take his wristwatch off while doing surgery. So
Alex, that seems like bad news.
Yep. They interview Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, and then formerly Ashton Carter, now Oro Mensa, or on this show, Oral Messiah,
of course,
comes up to talk to him about it. And like, hey, you know what? Actually, we should probably all hang out. We'd probably be very good friends, especially in the eyes of people in the back, because Shawn Michaels like, oh, you're all black, you're all in a stable together, perfect. They're very good friends, except for the fact that they don't like each other because they have to wrestle each other.
Of course.
That's good. This was fine. I liked how Oral Messiah was playing along and being friendly until he wasn't anymore, and that's good.
Yes, that was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Pluggo on Twitch, by the way. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming and send us your big old bitties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for rating us, whoever just rated us. We appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, Oliver Carter, not Ashton Carter. Oliver Carter. My fault. Well, actually,
yeah, it is your fault.
It's Luis's fault.
God.
He wrote Ashton Carter, and I read it. Now, wait.
Amateur.
This is good. Now everybody has to bring in the super chats about this. Cast the WCW movie, because if Channing Tatum is Sting, Cage Chicken Tenders says that Hemsworth should be Lex Luger. So cast the WCW movie with your super chats. That's the new thing.
That's fun.
Let's get it done, people.
Let's make it happen. In the meantime, Alex, what's your favorite flavor dot?
Probably a pink or red.
Pink.
Not green.
No.
Nobody likes green.
No.
You know what I used to get all the time, but I don't anymore because my teeth can't handle it?
Jujubes?
Juji fruits.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, I couldn't even get the teeth to separate.
You wouldn't be able to do the show if you had them right now.
No, couldn't do it.
Impossible.
Couldn't do it. It was Love Wrestling who did the raid. Thank you.
Oh, Love Wrestling's great. They're great to us.
So
go follow them on Twitter and on Twitch and stuff. They're fantastic.
Yeah. So, Kate, remember how all I wanted to make sure when they brought in Pretty Deadly, all I wanted to make sure was that they didn't use the implied homosexuality of the characters to make you not like them.
Right.
Like they're heels separate of the fact that they may or may not be a gay couple.
Right.
Well, that's out the window now because they definitely want you to hate them. And guess what? They're using the fact that they are implied to be, I suppose. I mean, if they share the same very small bed, I guess that's implied that they're in a romantic homosexual relationship. Listen, it's totally fine. I just don't like the idea that like that you're using that to get the wrong people to boo them. Like get them to boo them for other reasons too. Like I don't know, the whole like we feed each other breakfast in bed. There was a whole like day in the life of the Yes Boys thing that just didn't. I don't know, man. I mean, it's just a low hanging fruit that doesn't need to be there in the year 2022. Like in my opinion.
I agree, except I will say I don't think the intent of this segment was to draw heat. I think the intent of the segment was to be entertaining. I'm more concerned with what they did with Quincy last week than like this. Because I think they're heels, but they're supposed to be like kind of silly, like they're comedy-ish heels. So I don't think they're using that as a way to. I don't think the intention is to use their sexual ambiguity, I guess we'll call it for now, but implied homosexual relationship as a way to get heat. I'm worried in Florida it'll do that. I'm worried in Florida it'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the intent here in the video package we saw tonight. I think with Quincy last week, it was very evident that that's what they were trying to do. So definitely have the same concerns. I don't think that was the intent of this video package, but I completely hear where you're coming from. So
right. For the record, no, Bert and Ernie were roommates. They slept in the same bedroom in separate beds, just like I Love Lucy. Just like Lucy and her husband. They slept in separate beds in the same bedroom.
They're puppets, also. So
correct. A very important distinction to be drawn: puppets versus not puppets.
The only confirmed puppet sex that I've seen was in Team America, I think.
Yeah.
That's right.
WCW casting.
WCW, the movie.
CO wants Tom Cruise as Eric Bischoff, which is not bad, actually. You'll never get him, but you should probably contact his agent just in case. Tom LaValle, obvious one. Brock Anderson plays Arn Anderson.
Oh my God, yeah. That's the one thing that he has, is that he looks like his dad.
Kate's Chicken Tenders wants Tom Hardy as Scott Steiner and Montez Ford as Booker T. But
I don't think we can use another wrestler to play a wrestler. That feels like cheating.
I mean, that the only one you can use is Brock Anderson as his own
yeah,
father.
That's absurd. Because even on the casting reel, it's like, and Brock Anderson as Arn Anderson. It's like one of those.
And introducing Brock Anderson as Arn. Henry T. Casey says Winston Duke should be Booker T. And I think that's more of a Stevie Ray thing. I think Winston Duke would be a great Stevie Ray.
Okay.
I think that'd be really good too. But yeah, I like that. That's excellent. We gotta get a Harlem Heat in there. And DNC Digital says Danny Zuko Travolta as Disco Inferno. And Luis has a better casting idea. Just get a trash bag to play Disco. Anyway, hey, damn it, Smidget. Our boy Zach Schemmel also led the raid. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for building up that Twitch audience. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's great. So we got Sol Ruka's debut, at least on this show. I guess she's doing stuff on Level Up. So like her vignette is like, I'm so at home in the water. I love being in the middle of the ocean. And it's not going to be another day at the beach, ladies, when you face me in the women's division. And so my thought was, wait, who is this? She's a surfer. That's her deal, is that she's a surfer. And so that's all the vignettes have been, that she's a surfer. The one thing I love doing more than anything else, the only thing I love to do is surf. And then as she's introduced, they're like, a former Division I athlete at the University of Oregon. And then they mentioned it throughout that she's a former gymnast. Now, Tiffany Stratton is a former gymnast. She's been doing pretty well. But like her Tiffany Stratton's thing was like, she's a former gymnast who's also a daddy's girl and a little rich
and a tennis player. Remember the vignettes?
She was a tennis player
so tennis at me.
But Sol Ruka, like, she's even got the name Sol, which is Spanish for sun. I don't know what Ruka is, but like nowhere in any of that is she a gymnast. She's just a surfer. Now it's fine with me if she's both. But her entire thing never mentioned being a gymnast ever. It was like, I love to surf. Surfy, surfy, surf, 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 surf. And it was a weird thing to me that she was like, they were like, oh, by the way, world-class gymnast too. I'm like, oh, cool. And she wrestled like a gymnast, which is cool. With the way that you had presented her in her vignettes, made me think she was going to like ride a surfboard to the ring. You know what I mean? Like it was just a very odd thing. She won. She seems very nice. Good for her. The gimmick stinks. Like I don't know if you're a surfer gymnast.
She seems very nice.
She does. She seems very nice. I don't even know what the hell.
That sounds like something our Linda would say. This was fine. I too was confused by the gimmick. I think from a skill set point, she'll learn how to harness her acrobatic tendencies, if that's the word to use there, into a more logical skill set. I think that's where Tiffany Stratton has really come along, where the athleticism was always there, but now she does stuff that makes way more sense. I think she'll get there too. I liked the laid backness of her surfery ways in her vignettes, but I do have a problem, Alex, of you being a world-class gymnast and a surfer. I don't think you should be both. I think you should be the thing that makes sense that you are a professional wrestler. What on earth? It should be that. That should be the focus of your character, is the thing that is wrestling ring adjacent. Right. Unless they're I don't know much about surfing, but
you have to be if you are a real surfer, like you go out there all the time, you are in fantastic shape because it takes a lot of effort to paddle out there against the waves, a lot of balance and everything like that. That is not easy. Like real surfers are in fantastic shape, and that's totally fine and everything. But I feel like the gymnastics would probably be a better help to you in the ring, unless you're fighting a shark. No. But like the thing of it is that if there was ever a need to like humanize Sol Ruka some more, like have her debut. Have her be very athletic. Have the people talk about how she's a former college gymnast and was ranked very highly or whatever. And then as a human interest thing, do a vignette of also, I also love to surf. As opposed to my entire reason for being is to get up in the morning and paddle out into the middle of the ocean. Also, I happen to be a wrestler. It's just weird.
The problem I had with Tiffany Stratton initially, and they don't really talk about it anymore. I was like, but what are you doing in a wrestling ring? So it's more that.
Yep, it is that. Yeah. Yes. So Henry T. Casey says, for Sour Graps, he says, he says, am I crazy? Or is NXT trading porn accountants for 90s teen show surfers? It does feel like she's on a Disney Channel show. It's like the one note gimmick show will never really change, he says. And that is true. Just the idea of, hey, everybody, let's go and catch some rays at the beach because that's all we do here on our Disney Channel show. It is very interesting. And helpfully, Luis Polito says that is slang for either old or female significant other. Depends on the context. So basically, son girlfriend is a very interesting way to give her a name.
We have horse girl and horse lawyer, and we have girl dating the son.
Yes. Oh my God.
Can she be in a relationship with the son? Like she's the son's girlfriend.
Guys, he is so hot.
Oh no. We've said too much. They're gonna do it. We already know this is the show.
It's true. Oh my God, you guys, he is so hot. He's just the hottest. He's the hottest guy
up.
My God, he's so hot. So worst case scenario means old significant other, which is great. Fantastic. Spend too much time in the sun, you're going to start to look like an old significant other. You're going to start to look like Linda.
That's true.
Jason Griefer says, give me Al Pacino as Eric Bischoff. Kate's Chicken Tenders, Jam Beard says Shia LaBeouf is Buff Bagwell. Well, that's obvious. Keanu Reeves is Macho Man. Not too bad. And Evan Peters as Raven. But Chris Pereira says Mark McGrath as Raven. Chris Pereira also says Tom Holland as Billy Kidman, which is good.
That's a good shout. That's a really good shout.
And Chris Pereira says Mahershala Ali as Booker T. And this one I like from Weather Daddy. Hulk Hogan as Hulk Hogan. Only I can play me, brother.
Oh no, they have to do that because it's true.
It's so true.
Hey, he's been the same mediocre leg drop 40 years later. That's fine.
Same of that friggin' So we got a schism vignette, which is bad. And,
they're gonna have to, if Bray comes back, this is so dead upon arrival. They gotta.
And so we got Joe Gacy defeating Cameron Grimes because the dyad gets involved. And so it's dumb. Matthew Plus that has a very good question. If you haven't been watching the show, you would have no idea why the hell this is the case. Why is Grimes Titantron a stock ticker?
Yeah, this goes back.
This goes back a long time.
Yeah.
The idea of that he went away for a while, and when he with a legit injury, I believe, and when he came back, he had made a fortune on stop stonks. And he became like like his whole character was like, I'm rich now. Like basically a trailer park redneck who is now incredibly wealthy.
And it was really fun because we haven't seen that
really
kind of
fun. And
it also types that are so wealthy. Like this was such a fun idea.
It was so good, and it was totally inspired, and it played off of recent news. Like the GameStop stonks thing was like. That whole thing had happened like the week prior, and they put the whole thing together, had a great new song and everything. That's why he feuded with and then joined forces with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Some really good stuff.
So fun.
And honestly, it totally worked for his character. And it was fun. And yet he never mentions it anymore. Like he's not at all. That's not part of him at all. He doesn't wear the crazy hat. He's just a guy, you know, as I don't know, you know, I mean, it's all right, but there you go. Anyway, Cameron Grimes lost to Joe Gacy because the dyad got involved. I don't know what else to say about this.
I'll just echo what I said last week, which I still agree with and feel like is true. This is an angle that has done nothing for anybody involved, which is rough. Like, if that happens, I said it about Sammy and Scorpio. I think I made that call too last week. So you guys know it's not promotion specific. But it's a thing that unfortunately happens in wrestling sometimes. And this is one of those unfortunate cases where I don't think this has done a whole heck of a lot for Joe Gacy. I think with Bray coming back, it looks like that's really tough. This has done nothing for GYV, and it hasn't done anything for Cameron Grimes that has been super productive either. So I feel like that's a little tricky. And also we didn't get a payoff from the shadowy figure that we saw last week. So that was just kind of weird. But I also understand that these were two taped back-to-back episodes, right? So maybe that'll be something that happens on the kickoff of Black and White and Gold era.
Yeah, maybe. Nikkita Lyons defeated Kayden Carter by screaming at her real loud and then kicking her and then doing the splits on her body. And that's it. So,
I don't like the no selling of the like where I don't even know what it's called. You basically are like trying to knock someone off their feet from the ground. Mm-hmm. And I liked the initial one of like she just kicked them instead, but you can't keep no selling that. Makes your opponent look stupid. Right. So that was not very good, but Nikkita is pretty decent in the ring. Like we heard in reports this week that it sounds like Triple H is has a time clock on some of these guys, that there's going to be cuts and there's going to be call-ups and things are going to be moving along a little bit faster. I think Nikkita is someone that will survive any of that too, because she does have some in-ring ability, but they have gotten away from the package of like, hey, her gear shows her boobs and her butt, like, so they'll have to figure something out with that, but she's decent in the ring.
Yeah.
It's a reverse bathing suit, I think you said, which is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there, yes. So the Proud Girls, Zoe and Nikkita walking backstage. I think that's their team name. Walking backstage, they're talking to the camera about what the hell's going on and how they're. Yeah, well, Kayden tried really hard, but they're just holding on to you're with your power and athleticism and striking ability and my experience, says Zoe Stark. You're a really good wrestler. I have been doing wrestling for a long time is a weird thing for Zoe Stark to say about herself, because I think she's very talented in the ring.
Who's the best QTS going? Like, it's like Kenta, her.
She's
Punk.
Yeah, she's totally going to. Anyway, they're like, we're totally going to beat them for the title, and then they're walking up, and they're confronted by Toxic Attraction, who says, those are our titles. We're going to get the titles. That's my title. Titles for me. My title. I want the titles. And then Alba Fire walks up and lights a path of gasoline on fire that nearly burns all of them. It was just a little too much lighter fluid that somebody spread out on. It was a little too much. Very dangerous. To their credit, they kept on going and didn't go, holy shit, I nearly immolated.
I did. I went, holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I would. Would you ship Alba Fire and Eddie Kingston, the gasoline wielding couple? I probably would. I think.
Yeah. So they'll have a trios match next week. It was kind of funny that like Nikkita and Zoe were like, "Hey, cool, we got the crazy pyromaniac with a bat on our side. That's good for us." So
with your athleticism, my experience, and this crazy gal that sets everything on fire, we're unstoppable. That's a lethal combination.
It is true. Defense. It is true. Yeah, so there we go. Hey, in case you were wondering if they were ever going to get me to root for Von Wagner, they finally did. So, by virtue of the dumbest booking decision in years, I mean, maybe not the dumbest because it didn't involve a title, but like the most unnecessarily dumb booking decision, but in years of having Andre Chase, who pins exactly nobody, pin Carmelo Hayes, who's one of your top stars, in a tag match last week. Now he gets to be put in a qualifying match, and he has a pep rally / press conference to declare this. And then he berates a reporter, and I guess there's supposed to be an inside joke because the reporter's name is Dave. And so, who would you ever beat, Dave? You think you could have? You think that was a 5-star question, Dave? Oh, I get it. It's a Meltzer joke for the 14 people who give a shit about NXT enough to watch it, but also know who Dave Meltzer is.
Okay, well, first of all 14 of those people are on the screen or in the chat. So yeah. I am not mad about the Meltzer joke. I'm mad that they didn't go for the Nick Hausman joke.
Right.
This could have been a perfect CM Punk play. He's at a press conference. He's all pissed off. He should have been asking about whose improv class he was in. He shouldn't have been grilling Meltzer. But, Alex, you know how in our Grease review, which you can watch on Know Your News, I was like, you know how graduations have fairs at them about Grease? Like that, I just thought it was, and you said that's a West Coast thing. I don't know if this is what part of the country it is in, that your pep rally has a press conference at it, but what the hell was that?
I don't know what that is.
I'll also say this. Somebody I put on Twitter, why would I root for someone who's mean and loses all the time? You get one or the other.
Right.
Someone said, well, he's won like his past 4 matches, but those past 4 matches have been on Level Up, 1 or 2 on NXT, and 1 that was in NXT UK. And I was like, 2 things need to happen there. Because he's on NXT 2.0, he's 2-11 for the year. So either commentary has to sell me on this idea that he's been wrestling across multiple brands and he's on some sort of winning streak, which commentary did not do, because they're probably assuming that this audience only watches this show. Mm-hmm. Or they need to have him start. He should just be running through. He should be beating like 5 students in a row if you're trying to give him some sort of push. Right. And then the teachable moment should come after those victories. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how I would do it. Of like, maybe not Bodhi and Thea or whatever, because they're protected, but like other people that are at this imaginary school, he should be beating and then say, this is how I beat you. Here's your teachable moment bullshit. Mm-hmm. And then go from there. I have matches on Level Up at a brand that doesn't exist anymore. It's not a good enough story for me to get behind this. And I also there's never been, I mean, I went to a pretty boring high school, I guess, but like, I don't think I've seen any high school that had a press conference at their pep rallies.
Right. That's true. No, Mr. DXE, the point is that graduations don't have fairs, only in Greece.
That was the thing. Because we had a very real recognition of what the timeline of Greece was, that it was an entire school year, which seemed ridiculous.
Still not buying it. It was not a possibility. So anyway, he's got to face Von Wagner.
Yes.
In about to get into the ladder match, and honestly, it is a practical thing for me at this point. Yes, I despise the Andre Chase University bullshit. I think it's the worst thing in all of, and honestly, it's the worst gimmick in all of wrestling. A guy who supposedly runs his own university and people are students there, but like, it's fucking nonsensical. Like, Bray Wyatt's shit makes more sense in the real world than this. So yes, I hate it. And also, it would be a lot better if Von Wagner was in the ladder match. Because you need a guy who throws ladders at people. You don't need a guy in a sweater who does nothing in a ladder match. You need the guy who jumps off the ladders, and you need a guy who throws ladders. That's the thing. Like, you need one of those. Somebody who needs to be power bombed onto ladders. Like, is Von Wagner my favorite guy to fill that void?
Yes.
No. But is he an objectively better choice to be in a ladder match than Andre Chase? Abso-fucking-lutely.
I would like to jump off a ladder at the thought of watching this match.
Me too.
I don't understand how you have Tony D'Angelo versus Wesley, and one of them has to not be in this match.
Right.
And you do have Andre Chase versus Von Wagner. Put those 2 against each other and have the rightful winners be Tony D'Angelo and Wesley. I think this is a bad idea.
Yep.
But, with the clock running, maybe they're going to see if there's anything in this Von Wagner after all. At least people like Chase University. I'm not one of them, but
yeah. Can it be a time limit draw where both men are no longer are therefore eliminated from the ladder match? Could that be?
Can the time limit draw be 14
5 minutes?
Seconds?
5 minutes. This match is scheduled for 1 fall with a 5-minute time limit. If there was a character to redo the "I'm old, I'm hurt, and I work with fucking children," it's Andre Chase, the principal of a fake university, says Luis.
Yes.
Very true. There's a Frazier video, and I confess it's been a long time since I've heard him speak. He doesn't sound like what I do anymore.
Who cares?
I know. For you, I pride myself on my accuracy of these impressions.
I got some news for you about Gunther. Then
all Austrians sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is a fact. That's a statement of fact. But Nathan Frazier is playing soccer or football, and he's talking about his thing with Axiom and how, like, I'm a great footballer, and therefore I will beat Axiom is a dumb thing to say. It makes as much sense as I'm a great surfer, therefore I'm going to be a wrestler. But the third match in their series is now, as I thought it was going to be, a North American ladder match qualifier. So at least they're wrestling for something. So that's good.
Can't emphasize enough how you could choose to book both of these guys being in that match, and you have instead put either Von Wagner or Andre
Chase. That's true.
People like Andre Chase though, and my problems with him are not his in-ring ability. So hopefully he'll do something that
it's the gimmick. I've hated the gimmick since the very first second I saw it.
I hated the gimmick when it started to make even less sense than it started with.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like the gimmick anyway, but then when it became he's a professor who's a jobber and now everybody roots for him, that's when it really lost me.
It was a weird thing that it was like you never you're watching a show and you watch every week and you skip a week because you can then the DVR didn't record it and you watch the next episode. And all of a sudden, everything's different. What happened? What did I miss? It felt like I missed a week of NXT where he cut a promo and everyone started to like him. And I didn't understand what I missed because I must have missed the promo. Why does everybody like him now? Everyone hated him before. Literally, everyone went from hating him to loving him, and I did not understand why.
Well, they didn't do any work to earn it creatively. So that's what's tricky about it.
They never do. So yes, Zion Quinn talks himself into a match with Ilya Dragunov backstage. Zion Quinn is a almost entirely unique to NXT of the guy who looks like he should be something spectacular, and could be. They just don't book him to ever win anything. But he still thinks he's a winner, and he still thinks he's important. He says he's the X factor of NXT, the Zion Quinn. I get it. Oh yeah, X factor. That's the first time I've ever heard him say that. But he says it like it's his own catchphrase. Remember how he was like, "Run it straight," and that never made any sense. He was like, he gets himself in all these feuds, these 2-week feuds with people who are higher up on the card with him than him, and he just loses the match. And so when you have Zion Quinn approach Dragunov, what is required to make me give a damn about this match in the slightest is for me to have any kind of thought in my brain that Zion Quinn stands a chance against Ilya Dragunov. And you would do that, you would give that thought to my brain if you ever booked him to win anything.
Right.
But you don't. And so that's the problem.
Yes, it is a little too similar to the Grayson Waller thing in the trajectory that he's on, of what you said about like,
right.
I'm a big deal, I'm really important, I'm the best. And it's like, but you never win any matches. It's kind of all in your own head. And then Quincy Elliott shades him. And I was like, well, damn, if Quincy Elliott wants to come on the show and co-host, they can do that. Like, feel free to. Because that's how I have felt, is you're the X Factor, but I don't see it. I don't think that's not a slight on Zion Quinn. I think the potential's probably there, but like, it's never brought out by the creative or the booking,
right.
And therefore I can't buy into it. You have to prove that through a series of wins and decent creative decisions. You can't just declare yourself that doesn't work.
So they have the match because Zion Quinn runs his mouth at Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov says, "Let's fight," and then they do. And Ilya Dragunov wins with a Torpedo Moscow, which is always a fun move to look at because it feels like you're definitely going to kill yourself doing that one of these days. But Zion Quinn got in far too much offense on Ilya Dragunov. Considering who Ilya Dragunov is, who you want us to think he is, as in like a little buzzsaw machine from Eastern Europe who's a real threat to Braun Breaker. You should have had him come in, and against a guy who's been booked consistently like Zion Quinn, he should have ducked a big punch and immediately beaten Zion Quinn. Like, the match should have lasted less than 30 seconds. Considering who Zion Quinn has been booked to be and who you want us to think Ilya Dragunov is, the match went way too long. So
that's kind of the handcuffs that they've put on themselves of like,
really
if I want Zion Quinn to feel important, he's got to get in some offense against Dragunov.
The thing is that if you're going to have a guy on the roster like Zion Quinn, who you want to put in a match against a guy like Ilya Dragunov, you have to be consistently booking Zion Quinn to beat lower card guys on the show. He should be winning a squash every other week on the regular show so that he could have won his last 7 matches in less than a minute every time. And then he comes up to Ilya Dragunov and says, I want you. Okay, let's watch this match now. And then the match can go 7, 8, 10 minutes. And then, but Ilya Dragunov wins. And that proves something. And then you go, Zion Quinn gets pissed, and he goes right back to beating lower card guys every other week on the show until you need him to do it again. And that can be his role on the show. As opposed to, I lose all the time, I lose all the time, I lose all the time. Every time I do that, I pick a fight with somebody higher on the card than me. Just doesn't work for him.
That is a very well articulated summary of the most basic fundamental shit in pro wrestling. It truly is. And that's not a bad thing either. Like, I've actually been saying this about Christian's whole heel run with the Jungle Boy stuff. I'm like, he's doing very elementary but very good heel work. Like, extremely basic stuff, but the shades that he was filling in those stories with, I thought were really great. The framework of pro wrestling, oftentimes, not always, sometimes you get some really interesting stuff that messes with the framework, but it's usually that simple. Like, it's usually very, very, very simple. So getting out of your own way booking-wise is something that I think NXT 2.0, as we are kind of at the end of this chapter of NXT, thankfully, that's something they've been really, really lacking and really just to be honest, like, bad at. They've been very, very bad at that, which I think is something that Hunter's very, very good at. So hopefully in Black and White and Gold, that is something we will see improve. But yeah, that is tricky. That's a tricky thing to do to Zion Quinn. I love Dragunov, man. He's so good. We did see on NXT television, Gunther and Dragunov. That's in NXT history. So I think it's important to recognize that we should know what Dragunov's capable of, even though he hasn't been around recently and has been injured. Like, we saw him beat Gunther. We saw him beat Walter. So he's really, really, really a special talent. He really, really is. And I love watching his matches. I can't wait to see more from him.
Yep. So Quincy is with Sanga backstage, and Sanga is like, I lost my match against Von Wagner, and that's too bad. And Quincy's very supportive. What a nice guy Quincy is, which is why it confuses me why he's assaulting referees in a very odd way in the ring, but out of the ring, he's just the nicest fella. And I don't understand. I think those two things don't coincide the way they want them to, but I think they will find their footing with Quincy. But then Zion is walking by after his loss, and Quincy's like, "Hey, you keep saying that you're so great about everything, and I just don't see. I also see what's
so great.
What's so great about you?"
Yes,
says Quincy.
Yeah, I think what's good is that the Sanga that we saw is not what we heard was happening at the house shows.
Mm-hmm.
With Sanga, so that's really refreshing. And I hope that if Veer is going to NXT, we get the presentation of the way Sanga is now versus what Endushare was. So that's great. And Quincy is like very charismatic. This was a kind of a throwaway line, but everything Quincy does like really pops out. So very happy for them. I hope I'm just very nervous how this all gets treated. I'm very nervous for how this gets treated with Quincy.
Me too. But we're definitely getting Zion versus Quincy, and
which in ring should be really good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with Zion going forward and with Quincy going forward, coming out of this thing, because Zion just losing another match isn't great for him going forward, but for Quincy, you have to keep them in their push as well. So what are we doing with this? I mean, listen, I really don't give a shit about Zion Quinn, but he's got an incredible look. Like, yes. he looks perfect for something. I don't know what it is yet, but he's got a look, and you got to put him in a position where he can start winning some stuff, but not at the expense of Quincy. So,
no. And you know what I would say about Quincy, Alex?
What's that?
I would say Quincy has a magic about them.
You would think, yeah?
Yeah. Like, every morning Quincy just gets up, pours himself a big bowl of cereal, eats it off of like a delicious magical spoon.
Mm-hmm.
My God, so much magic. You would think that was packed with protein. That's the kind of cereal it was. I wish I knew if such a thing existed.
Who doesn't love cereal? The crunch, the sweetness, the way you can accidentally eat a whole box or sneak it as a midnight snack. Then you grow up and you realize that that's probably not the smartest thing to do. All the carbs, all the sugar, all the unhealthy stuff. But then you find out about Magic Spoon. MagicSpoon.com/Fightful. You can grab a custom bundle of cereal and try the magic for yourself. But what makes it different? 0 grams of sugar, 13-14 grams of protein, only 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving, and 140 calories per serving. But they've got cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter. They've got blueberry muffin, maple waffle, honey nut, cookies and cream, cinnamon roll, all the flavors that you loved when you were a kid. From the classics to the cult favorites to the indulgent ones, all of them available at MagicSpoon.com/Fightful. They're so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. And if you go to MagicSpoon.com/Fightful, use our promo code Fightful at checkout, you're going to save $5 off your order. MagicSpoon.com/Fightful.
Luis.
My God, such a thing does exist.
Luis says that Cocoa Magic Spoon is a certified banger of a cereal, strongly recommended. So there you go.
Well, if Luis says
comes highly recommended by Luis.
Hey, you know what else I would recommend?
What's that?
Leaving a darn thumbs up on this video to help people find us in the algorithm. Getting those super chats and humper chats in. We're going to try and get as many of them in as soon as we possibly can so that the show doesn't go 3 hours. We appreciate if you can get your requests in as soon as possible. And of course, subscribe to Fightful Select if you aren't already. More news coming down the pike. It's not a slow wrestling media news cycle these past 5 months.
So
Sean has not slept.
Damon Kemp faces Brutus Creed. And Julius Creed just lets him go out there by himself. There needed to be a scene between Brutus and Julius. Not that I think they would have knocked it out of the park as actors, but a scene needed to be written for where Julius is going to go out there with Brutus, and Brutus says, "No, I need to do it by myself."
Yes, 100%.
Because with what happened at the end of the match, Julius not coming out there makes no sense. So we have Damon Kemp is a cravat master. Just locks in a cravat for 6 minutes. And then Brutus powers out of it, knocks him out of the ring, and Damon Kemp just walks over, gets a chair, and starts wailing on Brutus, not giving a shit if he gets disqualified. Just beats him to death with a steel chair. And 4 referees come out and make him stop. And then he yells into the camera about Julius Creed. Come on, come get some. And Julius Creed does not. And it makes 0 sense why Julius. We already saw Julius Creed and Brutus hug, and Brutus walk away, and Julius stand there in the Diamond Mine dojo and not do anything. So he's in the building, And it makes zero sense why he doesn't run out there to try and save his brother, most importantly, and also get him some of Damon Kemp. So yeah, that was odd.
I'm nervous next week we find out that Roddy attacked him backstage or something. That Roddy attacked Julius or something dumb.
Roddy ran over himself in the parking lot, and it was all conspiracy.
I knew it. But that does make me a little nervous with that stupidity. I'll err on the side it was a creative gap. But yeah, that was it. It made the absence so noticeable when they didn't do any work to just say why Brutus was out there alone. Not the best match we've ever seen.
No.
Kind of far from. Damon Kemp has a long way to go, I think.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be an opportunity for Damon Kemp to really show what he could do. And
yeah, it was mostly a cravat.
And like, take a shortcut, maybe do a chop block or something when like Brutus has to be pulled off of him in the corner because Brutus hates Damon Kemp so much. But Damon Kemp lashes out and chop blocks his knee or something, and then goes to work on Brutus. Really does some really good stuff. And I thought this was an opportunity for Damon Kemp to really show that he could do something. Instead, he intentionally gets himself disqualified because he knows he can't beat Brutus. So how the hell is he going to beat Julius? Like, this is a dumb thing. Like, Brutus may be the bigger of the two, but Julius is by far the more skilled. So if Damon can't beat Brutus, what hope does he have against Julius? So he gets himself disqualified because he can't beat Brutus. This is all bad. The thing of it is that the whole thing, because I honestly thought that Damon Kemp's pre-recorded promo thing where he last week was not bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
It was everything was justified, which is more than we could normally say for NXT.
Jesse Ozok figuring this out is so funny to me. Our resident Shakespeare scholar. Yes, their names are Julius and Brutus Creed.
And I really wanted them to have a third brother that was just named like George or something.
Fred.
I thought that would be really
Fred.
Fred. It was Fred. I'm sorry.
Fred.
I was like.
So yes. So Jesse, we already know which brother is turning on the other one.
And it's going to be Fred. Turns on both of them.
Yeah, Damon, this whole thing, the heel turn, all of it was hanging by a thread, and it required everything to go perfectly for it to actually work. And this was a bad choice to have him just give up, take the loss, and beat the hell out of him with a chair, and then to have Julius not come out to try and stop it was all very, very odd.
There's something that's frustrating about DQs that have no build to them of like, I mean, I'm just so sick of DQs anyway, but like that idea of like, it's so personal. I didn't even care about the win. I believe it every time Eddie Kingston does it, but because like the match has to be violent enough that you believe that it's worth foregoing the outcome of winning. This didn't have that. Like he was just mostly in a cravat for a while. Like there was no violence. It wasn't personal until the DQ. So that's just another thing it was like the story just got turned on its head so out of nowhere and fast, but also predictably that it was not like the greatest execution of that. But
yep,
I'm ready for Hunter to take over.
Me too. So we got a Lash Legend and Dragon Chew promo. Wendy Chew. She's not Dragon Chew yet. But Wendy Chew saying that she's gonna beat up Lash Legend. Lash Legend's so annoying, blah blah blah, and Lash Legend saying whatever. This is whatever it is. Like Lashley's probably gonna win this thing because they have higher hopes for her than they do Wendy, which is a crime. But Wendy's always gonna be over. Because she's always going to be entertaining, and we need to use that to help this woman who is not ready to wrestle on television get victories is depressing to me. But yeah,
not like excited for this feud because I feel like they're at such different points in the developmental spectrum, right? Like, even Karen Q, I don't think needed to. I don't think she needed to be a 5,000-year-old dragon lady at any point. But like, as a wrestler, came in from the indies with like a ton of momentum and experience. It has just always been really fucking good at this. So my hope is if she is starting to like lose a little bit, maybe she'll be called up to the main roster at some point. I think she could do a lot of fun things. We've seen her work in the tag picture so well. I think that could be really good. But as of right now, I'm not excited for the feud because I don't think it's going to do what they think it's going to do as far as helping who they think it's going to help.
Right.
But
kind of speaking of which, Double Vest in the Beach got a victory over Gallus. I'm going to start an Instagram challenge. Okay. It's called the Stop Giving Dumb Names to Hardcore Matches Challenge. It's a hardcore match. Just call it a hardcore match. It's not a pub rules match. That's dumb. Like it's just a hardcore match with weapons where weapons are allowed. Like I don't. It's not. There's. It's a pub rules match, which means there are no rules. Then stop putting rule in the title of things. It's just dumb. Who brings?
They didn't even call it Fight Pub. They could have called it Fight Pub. Fight Pub was sitting right there, and they didn't even do that. Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just a hardcore match with things that are legal, and I couldn't be arsed to watch. I don't care about either of these teams. I don't care who wins the match. Why is this the main event? Except for the fact that like it gets broken glass everywhere.
Yeah, just logistically not having to make people wrestle after a bunch of glass has been broken in the ring is good. Yeah. You know, at least when they did like the Viking match on a ship, whatever that was called, it was like at least they had a damn ship, Alex. They committed to that on the main roster.
That's true. They committed to it.
There wasn't even a bar here. I would leave this pub so fast. There's no fun music. There was no angry Red Sox fan who's like 150 years old sitting at the end of the bar. That's the only person I ever want to talk to at a pub. It was a stupid pub. It was just a hardcore match. I am interested to see where Double Vest and the Beach are because, again, Triple H said like the clock is running, and I don't think I've seen a lot of growth out of them in ring wise. It's mostly just kind of unnecessary lariats in the same vein as like a Von Wagner. So I would, if I'm like considering people for the main roster, they are not the first tag team that I am probably looking to call up.
Right.
So this did not need to be the main event at all. It was very mechanical and not that fun. And it wasn't even that pubby. There wasn't even that much pub stuff. Not enough pub stuff. Oh, there's broken glasses. Fine. Where's the karaoke machine?
Yeah.
Where's pub things?
Henley
works at one.
They should have smashed a plate of really substandard mozzarella sticks over their heads. You know,
and just someone being like, "These are cold."
Somehow they're way too hot on the ends and frozen in the middle. How did you prepare these mozzarella sticks? And why are they $12? There are 4 of them here. Like
at least the Donnybrook mashed
was the biggest scam in the world when I was younger and had to go to bars to drink.
Oh yeah, it's just like the soft pretzels that you would buy and put in your freezer, charged $5 a pop or whatever. But like, this didn't deliver from a conceptual standpoint or an in-ring standpoint or feel like a main event.
The only thing that came out of this in any way at all was that apparently Gallus was arrested and have been suspended. Earlier in the night, Joe Coffey headbutted a security guard. Not the one security guard who's got a name and is allowed to wrestle, a different guy. And so he was barred from ringside, but then he came down to ringside, got pushed through a table. Wolfgang went to a table in the corner, and then Mark Coffey had a trash can on his head and got clotheslined, I guess.
I needed coffee to stay awake during this match, Alex.
Like at a pub?
Do they serve coffee at a pub? I guess they do.
I don't know, like to sober you up. I don't know. What was? Oh, Joe Coffee. I get my brain's not working properly.
The perfect go home for NXT, and that it was creatively miserable and confusing and not great. This is like the perfect thing to cap off the NXT 2.0 era.
Yeah.
Of like, why is it happening? What is it? I'm confused.
Kate's Chicken Tenders Jam Beard says neither Serena Deeb nor Manami Toyota could get a good match out of Lash Legend. She is worse than when they get a random manager or commentator to wrestle. She's very big, and she is athletic, and she is strong, but she can't put any of that together into making an actual wrestling match. That's the problem.
Not yet. Like it is a developmental brand. That's something to keep in mind.
The thing is that if you start putting a clock on people,
yeah, that's the thing.
Then you can't. Here's the thing, Triple H. I love the idea of a clock. However, some people, their clocks have to be longer than others. Because if you're going to start bringing in these name, image, and likeness kids who aren't quite good enough to go pro in whatever sport they do in college, and you bring them in and they don't know how to do a friggin' snapmare, you're going to have to give them a much longer leash. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Aaliyah long, like 7 years in NXT long.
That's
but 1 year might not be enough. You know what I mean? So.
Yes, but also I didn't read any details on this, but like the clock is running might mean marked improvement of some sort rather than your main roster ready in X time. So I don't know what that looks like. Like that's kind of always been a part of the identity crisis of NXT. Always is like, what does developmental actually mean? I think it was getting more. The one thing that the NXT 2.0 brand had was that it was more aligned with Vince's vision, and now all that's out the window. So we're kind of back to square one of what is NXT, and like in defining what's NXT, what is level up then, right? Because I think of it like single A, double A, triple A baseball. I would assume that NXT is supposed to be triple A-ish. Like we're going to the majors pretty soon. And there's talent that are currently there that I think maybe are probably more in the single A, double A range. And if those people are people that have been around for 5, 6, 7 years, that's like a little bit of an issue. So that is a challenge for Triple H, as we're like, this is actually kind of a perfect way to close out the show because I think if we're kind of looking at was NXT 2.0 successful for a few people. So Sikoa, obviously, I think it will have been for Braun. I think it will have been for Carmelo. Toxic Attraction will probably be what they consider a success. Like they have successfully developed people out of it. It is some of the worst quote unquote pro wrestling I've ever seen in my life from a creative direction. It's really bad. So I'm looking forward to things maybe just making a little bit of sense again.
Right. Case Chicken Tender Jam Beer says a pub bar match and no Ron Simmons. Damn.
A good Ron Simmons.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So now we have a few more, several more of these WCW movie castings. Here we go. Henry T. Casey says Danny McBride to play Hogan. Case Chicken Tender says Daniel Radcliffe as Chris Jericho.
No.
Kate as Medusa.
Hell yeah.
Alex as Rufus.
That'd be an honor to play Alundra Blaze. Are you kidding? My goodness.
Chris Pereira says Henry Cavill as Kevin Nash. I think you got to get Kevin Nash to play Kevin Nash because that would be a lot of fun.
We said no wrestlers playing wrestlers. I guess you can play yourself.
Yeah, I guess you can play yourself. Electric Mayhem says Chris Hemsworth as Sting, Liam Hemsworth as Jeff Farmer, and Luke Hemsworth as Jerry Flynn. So Sting and Sting brothers. It's interesting. Chris Pereira says Diego Luna as Eddie Guerrero. That's not a bad idea.
Wow.
That would be a lot of fun. If you did an Eddie Guerrero story, that's
an excellent pull.
Give Diego Luna a couple of cycles of steroids and get him all bulked up. It wouldn't be too bad. Electric Mayhem says Dad bod Chris Pratt as Hackshaw Dim Duggan. Chris Pereira says Zac Efron as Rick Rude.
Okay.
He's got the abs for it. Case Chicken Tenders says Paul Rudd. I think he's about half the size of Scott Hall. And Johnny Knoxville as Vince Russo. I don't know what kind of crazy New York accent that Johnny Knoxville's got, but wouldn't be so bad, I suppose. Nerd Guru says Kate dressed as Red Beetlejuice kind of rules.
Thank you.
Curtis says love
my sister's name is Lydia. How about that?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Curtis says love the show, folks. Happy end of 2.0 NXT. It was a wild ride. Also wanted to thank Kate for fighting the trolls off the rude post of our local wrestling group show photo.
Oh yeah, there was a nerd on there who has no friends, and he got jealous of a picture of a group of people having friends, and he got mad about it because he has no friends. Get friends.
Graham B says Sean Ross Sapp should play the "I'm over this shit" Tony Schiavone.
No more than this week should Sean Ross Sapp be playing "I'm over this" Tony Schiavone.
Remember, Ronald Hollock reminds us AEW Dynamite versus NXT in 2 weeks. The war for one night.
Are they competing? I mean, Triple H flat out said, "Congrats, you beat our developmental brand," which is pretty wavy the white flag.
It's true now. It wasn't true then.
Correct.
They thought they were going to slaughter AEW and kick them off of the air. Nope. Funny Rob Bebe says, so Bandito versus Y2J on Dynamite should be fun, I guess.
Why do you hate Alex?
Define fun, because I don't like it was hard. It's hard enough for me watching Jericho slow down people who aren't particularly that fast to wrestle with him. Watching Bandito's gonna be like walking in quicksand, trying to just okay, turn around before and Luis says if Bandito loses against Y2J, I will be probably angry, sad. I will riot. He says he will riot. Well, get ready to riot, because there's no way Bandito is winning, and it'll be terrible for everybody, because don't book these matches. Like, here's the deal. Jericho should not be he should be the character who refuses to wrestle. That's what it should, especially as the heel ROH champion, he should refuse to wrestle. He shouldn't be wrestling.
He shouldn't. It definitely shouldn't be like open challenging. Yeah. I didn't like that he won, but I didn't hate the idea of like the Ocho going into it.
Right.
I thought that was a fun story. It's just, I get it and I don't. Just when the hell are they getting TV? Because right now it's just a secondary set of titles on AEW television. They need TV really, really bad.
Yeah. Case Chicken Tenders says Denise is Hollywood Hogan.
I'm in.
Did you see that cosplay she did that one time?
I did. It was incredible.
Perfect. All right, here we go. Jukebox. All right. You have some in here as well, by the way. I'm gonna put them together at the bottom.
I'm excited because we make more money, but I'm also sad because this was the part of the show where I didn't have to do anything. Now I have to do things.
What happened? There we go. All right.
Thank you to everybody that joined and is supporting. I joke about having to do things, but we appreciate it.
No, you have your own page here at the bottom. There you go. All right, let's do. Here we go. Electric Mayhem says, "Happy belated birthday, Alex. Feel better. Happy belated gate, Kate. Thank you for bringing some laughs to the world if they're needed. If you're up for a jukebox, Darby Allin singing 'Walking on Sunshine' by Katrina and the Waves." Here we go. "I used to think maybe you'd love me. Now, baby, I'm sure. And I just can't wait till the day when you knock on my door. Malachi Black. Now, every time I go for the mailbox, gotta hold myself down. Because I just can't wait till you write me you're coming around. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, oh. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, oh. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, oh. And don't it feel good? Malachi Black." Good?
That was the perfect juxtaposed song and impression. Very well requested. Very well done.
Good. How about Regal? How about Regal singing? Luis Villarreal says Regal sings "Bad Romance" by Lady Gaga. Okay, let's see here.
I had a friend who once called her, as a joke, Lady Gaga, and now that's all I can think about when people say
Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah, Lady Gaga.
Here we go. "Ra ra Roma ma, Gaga ooh la la, want your bad romance. Ra Roma ma, Gaga ooh la la, want your bad romance. I want your ugly, I want your disease, Man in the Mask. I want your everything as long as it's free. I want your love. Love. I want your love. I want your drama, the touch of your hand. I want your leather-studded kiss in the sand. I want your love. Love. I want your love. Scrummy, scrumptious, you, your little pudding. I'm going to lap you up and do bad things to you. War games."
I like your bashful war games.
War games. Okay. All right. I'm going to save a couple years for the end here. We got another one. Case Chicken Tenders says, "Can we have Darby singing Skinamarink a Dinky Dink?"
I have to tell you, the song has like a very real sentimental, like, heartstrings pull at me, and I can't wait to see it be done by Darby Allin.
Yeah. Great. There you go. "Skinamarinky Dinky Dink. Skinamarinky Doo. I love you. Malachi Black. Skinamarinky Dinky Dink. Skinamarinky Doo. I love you. I love you in the morning and in the afternoon. I love you in the evening and underneath the moon. Malachi Black. Skinamarinky Dinky Dink. Skinamarinky Doo. I love you." That's it. I don't know.
In some ways, I'm so ready for them to move on from that feud, but in other ways, I never want to hear Darby Allin not say Malachi Black.
Okay, now you have to do one. We're gonna save Tiffany Stratton for the end because it's perfect, and so you get to do this other one. Because one time you did a Ned from South Park, and so people now are requesting it. Kate's Chicken Tenders Jam Beer says, "We need to have Kate as Ned from South Park with the voice box sing Dr. Jones by Aqua."
I said, should at least be kept to wrestling.
No.
You go, no.
No.
Why won't the link open? There we go. Sometimes the feeling is right. You fall in love for a first time. Heartbeat and kisses so sweet. Summertime love. Ah, yippee-I-O. Ah, yippee-I-yay. Ah, yippee-I-O-I-yay. It's Comrade Forrest. There you go.
That's that. It's so funny.
That hurts my throat.
I would say show. I would say show. I would say so. We got a couple of Tony D ones. So we'll save those for the end. But Tom LaValle says, Daddy Magic singing "You Don't Mess Around with Jim," and feel free to change names in the song as you like.
Oh, we weren't going to take that.
No, this is
license.
Definitely not the. This is the. I guess it's the same lyrics, right? But this is the cover by the group Poison, which is definitely not the version that I know of.
I don't know the song. I don't think.
Oh yes, you do. Yeah,
I do.
You don't know the. Nobody knows the Poison version, but it. Yeah, it's an old one. I forget Jim Croce, I think, maybe. Well, the Bowery got its bums. 42nd Street got Jim Walker. He's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man can come. He's stronger than a country horse. And when the bad folks all get together at night, they all call Big Jim boss. Just because, yeah, they say, you don't tug on Superman's cape. Huh? You want a taste? You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. And you don't mess around with Jim. And when I say Jim, I mean Chris Jericho. You want a taste?
Taste of the titles.
That's done with that. And I'm gonna do one. Luis Villarreal says Tony D singing "Chicken Stew" by System of a Down. And then okay. What a splendid pie. Pizza pie. Every minute and every second. Bye. What a splendid pie. Pizza pie. Every minute, every second. Bye. Pepperoni and green peppers. Mushrooms, olive chives. Need therapy. Advertising causes. Need therapy. Advertising causes. It basically just keeps going on like this. Like, advertising got you on the run, need therapy. Advertising's got you a pizza pie, basically, is what they're talking about here. Gabagool. I honestly do. I did. There was a time when I really liked System of a Down. Still think they have some great hits, but
yeah,
going back and reading their lyrics, a lot of them entirely nonsensical.
That is
entirely nonsensical. Aaron H says, thanks for a pep on a bad day for me. Oh, sorry about your bad day, Aaron H. Says, can we have Braun messing up Macbeth's monologue? Braun Strowman auditioning for Macbeth. Here we go. She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow. And tomorrow, and tomorrow, and how many tomorrows? Just 3? Okay. Tomorrow. Creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded. That's what I said. I said syllable. What do you mean? Oh, syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dust and death. Out, brief candle, lies but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour apart, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying I'm not finished with you.
That was delightful.
I'm not finished with thee. There you go. I'm not finished. I am not finished with thee. Okay. So now we'll just do we'll end it with your Tiffany Stratton and then my Tony D. So here we go.
That one's actually very special too. Well, not like special, but it was a fun way that it came about. The best things in life are free, but you can keep them for the birds and bees. Now give me that money. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. Dad. That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Your loving gives me a thrill, but your loving don't pay my bills. Now give me money. That's what I want. Now give me money. That's what I want. That's what I want. Oh yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Money don't get everything. It's true. What it don't get, I can't use. Thank you.
I love the way that when you say it, want is 2 syllables. Want.
I want.
All right,
wait,
Mike.
So this last one is for Mike/Evil Guru, who I met at AEW Dynamite after the controversy. Leaving, he recognized me, thought it was me, and he said hi, and he was just so kind and so complimentary, and he's another person that doesn't watch NXT but always watches the show, and he loves the jukebox. And he said he wanted Tony D'Angelo doing Never Gonna Give You Up. And I said, you have to buy me 6 soft pretzels on the way out of Grand Slam, and he did. No, not really. But this is a very special in-person request, and it was so nice to meet some of you at Grand Slam.
Here we go.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. If full commitment's what I'm thinking of, you wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside, we both know what's been going on, Tony. We know the game, and we're gonna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. I'm never gonna give you up, Tony. I'm never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside, we both know what's been going on. We know the game, and we're gonna play it, eh? Gabagool, Linda.
I feel like you should have rickrolled me while I was doing the Tiffany Stratton impression. Should have rickrolled me right off the screen.
I should have.
But good. Now, for another time.
Kate's Chicken Tenders, Graham Beard says, not sure which is better, Kate's Tiffany impression or the fact that Alex cracks up right away because of it. I love it. It's perfect. I love it as much as you love the Nathan Frazier one. And it's even better because yours is accurate and mine is not. All right.
He's so dopey. And you have that, like, you look like a golden retriever, and he looks like a golden retriever.
It's true. Fine. It's true. Oh, that's it. That's everybody. That's it. We're done. We're done for the night.
Alex, do you have any closing words on this chapter of NXT 2.0? Now that it's dead.
Good riddance. Good riddance. Good riddance. That's what I have to say. Goodbye. Goodbye to this chapter.
Everything sucked.
Everything did suck. It's true. And hopefully it won't suck as much going forward. But I think if it hadn't sucked, we wouldn't have gotten whatever the hell the show was, because we had to think of other things to do to make the review entertaining because the show was so bad. So this has been great. And yeah, here's for another year of it being fun and ridiculous. And we'll see here what goes on. Hey, Kate, where can they find you on the everything?
You can find me at MissKatefabe on Twitter. You can find me at Katestagrams on Instagram, and you can find me every Tuesday here with Alex, every Wednesday on the Mark Order Pod, and every Friday doing the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post shows, as well as commentary at Excite Wrestling on October 9th X with an X, not with the EX. So this is wrestling, people.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Anyway, you can find me on the Twitter at AlexSourGraps. We'll see how I feel tomorrow if I'm going to be streaming the main event of Dynamite and if I'll be on the show with Sean Rossap. But if I'm able to speak, I will likely be on those shows. So look for those tomorrow. But everybody, have a wonderful Wednesday. Take care of yourselves. If you're in the path of whatever Hurricane Ian, just please be safe, as safe as you possibly can. Our thoughts are with you.
Keep
love you
safe,
guys.
Gabagools.
Yes, keep safe, Gabagools, and also we love you. Here's to another year of more shenanigans, and keep cool, Gabagools.